Earlier we heard about the vajra-samadhi. Samadhi is concentration or focus. Focus is perhaps a better word. It's where our attention is. And the vajra is a symbol of unshakability. There's no longer any doubt. There's no attempt here now to persuade us of the dreamlike nature of the world. We're now being exhorted to stay in this realization because it's obvious. There's no more argument for the world being dreamlike. This is now the experience. Our sense of being is such that we are established in the reality of our own awareness. And that being established puts the whole physical world into a certain perspective. We can slap the label of dream onto it. It's homogeneous. It's not out there. It's homogeneous because it's the nature of consciousness. It's the nature of our awareness. We're no longer getting led or taken in by ideas, by notions. This is the vajra-samadhi. It's unshakable. And in this next chapter, chapter 52, we've got the talk of cosmic dissolution. And this is essentially what being in the vajra-samadhi is about. Because the world has no longer got any reality. Or at least its reality is not what we thought it was. Vasishta continued. The notion of the existence of the world arises in the ignorant, just as the awareness of its various limbs may arise in the mind of a tree. So if a tree had a mind, it might think of its branches as its various limbs. But it's just a tree, isn't it? It's just a tree. This illusory apprehension of the objective world, which goes by the name Avidya or ignorance, does not in fact exist. It is as real as water in the mirage. Avidya literally means not knowing, or absence of knowing. However, just for the sake of clear understanding, take this ignorance as real and listen. Then you will yourself understand that it does not exist in fact. It's a choice. It's a choice to believe in your own notions or not. The notions that you've been fed since you were very young. It's rather like learning a language. When you learn a language, you learn various constructions, various ways of putting things. Certain languages have nouns and verbs. A noun is an object and a verb is an action. Not all languages have this. So you learn a certain way of thinking. And it can be a bit of a shock when you grow up and you find that people speak different languages. Because you assume there's something quite fundamental about your own language, about your original language. Surely everybody understands your own language, your language. But no, they don't. You've got other languages which can be completely different. So we are fed the language of notions, of ideas as we grow up. Not just cultural ideas, not just social ideas, but existential ideas, metaphysical ideas. Ideas regarding your importance, for example, as an individual in relation to other people. That might be dependent on class. So we're fed all these ideas, and this is all they are though. They're ideas, and we can drop them all completely. And it's like when you learn another language. Your language isn't the only language. It isn't the only way of doing things. So we have to let go of notions which are very dear to us and very intrinsic to us, even notions of our own identity. Whatever appears to be here perishes at the end of the world cycle. No one can avert this total destruction. It's not spelled out here, but I prefer to see this world cycle as the awakening to the end of the world, to the non-existence of the world. Brahman alone exists then. And this Brahman is our awareness, our essential awareness. This realization is not like drug-induced experience. Drug-induced experience is temporary. This is real. We know with certainty that the body is like a dream object. We know with certainty, this is the vajra realization, and that consciousness alone is real. This world appears, perishes again and again. What has perished, and how does it come into being again and again? If it is said that all these objects remain hidden in space, then one has to admit that they were not destroyed even in the cosmic dissolution. There's no excuses here. There's no excuses. It all goes. End of story. There is similarity between cause and effect. Since there is no cause for this world appearance, it is not an effect. One alone is. One consciousness alone is. The numerous branches, leaves, flowers and fruits of a tree are but the expansion of the single seed. There is no need to invent a causal relationship. This seed alone is the reality. When the truth is investigated, we realize that the one consciousness alone remains as the truth. At the end of the world cycle, all these objects of perception cease to be. Well, the notional nature of perception becomes apparent. The one self, which is consciousness alone, remains, and this is indescribable, being beyond thought and description. Only the sage of self-knowledge experiences this. Others merely read these words. For it is neither time nor mind, neither being nor non-being, neither consciousness nor unconsciousness. I have thus described it negatively because the scriptures have done so. And this is the traditional description of Nirvana. It's often described as personal extinction, which doesn't sound very appealing, although that's what it is. In my vision, it is pure and supreme peace. In this there are infinite potentialities like figures in an uncut marble. Thus the Supreme Self is at the same time diverse and non-diverse. It is when you do not have direct self-knowledge that there arises in you doubt concerning this. Direct self-knowledge is the key. The perception of diversity is due to the division that arises in the self. However, the self is devoid of any division into time, space, etc. The self is the very substratum and undivided reality of time, space, etc., just as the ocean is of the waves. The waves are non different from the ocean. Hence the reality is undivided and undivided. It is and it is not. The uncut images in the marble may be carved out of it, but it is not possible to carve the world out of the infinite consciousness. Hence, divided though undivided, it merely appears to be different from the totality, though really non-different from it. Really, whenever we have words, we have contradictory statements. So, direct realization, establishment in the vajra-samadhi is what is required.